100 days in hardcore Minecraft. This is what I was able to do in 100 days of hardcore Minecraft, and I'm interested to see what 200 days will look like. But before we do, here are some of the things we did in 100 days. I equipped myself with full diamond armor, had an intense battle with the Ender Dragon, crafted a netherite sword and pickaxe, and defeated the Wither. So, I mean, with that being said, here are some things I want to try and achieve in 200 days. I want to obtain enough ancient debris to turn all of my tools into netherite. And well, of course, if we are going to craft all of our tools into netherite, we are going to need the best of the best enchantments. So I guess I'll add that on the list as well. Another thing I want to do is get enough valuables to build a full max level beacon. And the final thing I want to do is defeat an ocean monument. But apart from that, let the 200 days begin. Our journey begins directly from where we last left off. I was back on my island, and the first thing I decided to do was go and say hi to my cows. I was really hoping they would be excited to see me, and well, to my surprise, they were over the moon. As cool as it was to look around my island again and even say hello to my cows, I couldn't let that distract me from what really needed to be done on day 101. I knew as soon as I was diving back in to do another 200 days, I would need villagers, and I would need a lot of them. So I checked my chest and saw I only had one piece of iron. I would need iron for a bunch of rail carts to be able to transport the villagers all the way over from the village to my base. It would be a very difficult to cross an abandoned ravine. I hadn't been here before, but I knew for sure it looked unsafe. As long as I got the iron I needed and got out of there, I would be fine, right? Well, that's what I thought. Until, as I was mining for the iron, strange creatures were trying to run at me and attack me. I was able to fend them off for a while and get the iron I needed, but something unimaginable happened. A brand new enemy I hadn't seen before. The flying creeper. And it wasn't only one flying creeper. To my surprise, there was two of these things. I need to get this iron, and I have to get out of here. Oh, this is dangerous. I knew I had to get the iron quick, but I just couldn't help myself. There was too many diamonds. Yes, we got more diamonds. With the power of Fortune 3, I was quickly able to turn these 2 diamonds into 3, and I was able to get all the iron I needed. I checked my inventory and saw that I had stacks on stacks of iron, so I decided to leave it there and go home for day 101. I was so happy to be back on my island, and I got a good night's rest ready for day 102. Surprisingly, day 102 was a lot less action-packed than day 101. I pretty much chopped trees until the sun set, and I got a bunch of sticks ready to craft all of the rails I would need. It became nighttime really quickly, so I headed back to my base and got ready for day 103, where I basically spent all of my gold and all of my iron on rails. I then equipped my elytras and went flying out to find the village again. I sort of knew where it was, so I headed in the direction to find the village, and there it was. I was inside the village and I prepared the rails. I didn't have enough rails to go straight to my base, so I did have to keep going back, destroying rails and pretty much reusing them. This took ages. Now, getting the villagers back to my base actually took a lot longer than I expected, and the reason for that is because every time I accidentally broke the minecart or something, the villagers did not want to cooperate. They would run as far away from the minecart as possible, and it was getting really hard to keep them under control. But when I was bringing the villagers back to my base, one of them wanted to speak to me and tell me about something. I found this rather interesting, and I guess I'll tell you guys what he wanted me to tell you about, so here we go. He told me to tell you guys how there is only a limited time left on the Halloween event on my server. So guys, if you haven't already joined, make sure you do so, because when this event ends, there will be a brand new one. And I'm sure you guys don't want to miss out. So join the survival experience right now. But without further ado, let's get these villagers back to my base. Now, another thing I will add on getting these villagers back to my base, there was so many mobs on the way, and seeing as I didn't bring a bed with me, the mobs were getting out of control. But thankfully, by day 107, I was able to get all the villagers down in my base. I was super excited, and all of that hard work was over. I didn't have to go back to the village ever again. I could breed the villagers right here. I was super happy until this happened. No! Oh no. There's a villager in the nether. This is not good. This is not good. Where did it go? No, it's gone. Where's the villager gone? All of that hard work, and it's gone. There's no way I forgot to block off the nether portal. I've got to go and do that all again. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that's just happened. Seeing as I had already brought 2 villagers from the village back to my base, getting the third one there was pretty easy. I patched up my base, and I learned from my mistakes and blocked off the nether portal as well. Anyway, this was it. I had the 2 villagers in my base, so I threw them some potatoes and tried to get them to breed. By day 110, we had another villager in the base. Up to this point, I was doing some pretty advanced stuff, and I forgot about the basics, you know, farming and even breeding my cows. So that's what I ended up doing for day 110, but then I thought, I can't just let the villagers live in my base. They need their own home. So that's where I dived into the depths of the nether to try and get some resources to build them a base. I saw this green wood and I liked the look of it, so that's basically what I spent the other half of day 110 doing. I got a bunch of building resources, and I kind of had a good idea of what I should do for the villager's home. Oh, and not to mention, on the way back home, I found an old friend, the mending villager. But he didn't want to go back through the portal, so I decided to make him his own luxury mansion. Just kidding, I put him somewhere else. I guess he liked it there. Anyway, I got some glowstone and more building resources, and I was ready for day 111, where I was going to build the villagers the best home they had ever seen. I spent days crafting a brand new home for the villagers. I really wanted them to like it, and I wanted it to feel like home, so I built this big area where they can all meet up and most importantly do their trades. I also created multiple holes in the walls. This would be a place where I could store the villagers that have the best trades, so I don't end up losing them or muddling them up with the other villagers. Before I knew it, I was completely done making the villagers brand new home, and by day 116, it was time to move all the villagers in to their brand new home. I transported them down, and take a second to look at the smiles on their faces. They were very happy, so I decided to give them some potatoes, but I thought one thing was missing. It didn't feel enough like home for them, so I decided to bring down a bunch of beds. After moving them in, I created a bunch of bone meal because I thought I would need a bunch of potatoes if I actually wanted the villagers to breed. So I spent a lot of day 117 farming for a bunch of potatoes. I was able to get quite a lot of potatoes, and I decided then to bring them down into the villagers' home and throw all of the potatoes at them to see if they would breed. And to my surprise, they did. By 118, we had a brand new villager. I made some workbenches as well to see if I could get lucky with a mending book. It did take quite a lot of time to try and get the trades I wanted, and after a bunch of terrible enchanted books, I was super excited that I had a mending villager right under my base. And one of the villagers escaped, so I guess I have one just roaming around my base now. One of the villagers became a farmer. They were doing 26 potatoes for 1 emerald, and this was amazing. I was able to use all my bone meal, regrow up all of the potatoes, and basically have an infinite supply of emeralds. I'm hoping that maybe with these emeralds I can get an emerald beacon eventually, but for now I was focusing on the mending book. I went back down to that villager, sold all of my potatoes for emeralds, and was getting a step closer to having a mending book, and I wanted to use this mending book on my elytras. Eventually I was able to get enough emeralds, went up, crafted a book, headed over to the villager, and they were happy to do the trade for the mending book. I then put the mending book on the elytras, and I then had a mending elytra. For day 119, I decided it was time to plan my next adventure. I wanted to explore the nether, so I went out and got a bunch of creepers to get gunpowder to make a bunch of fireworks so I could fly freely around the nether and explore it as much as I wanted. By the end of day 120, I had a bunch of gunpowder that I turned into fireworks and decided it was time to go to my next adventure, the nether. I spent some time mending up my elytra and decided it was then time to venture around the nether. I had a bunch of fireworks, really good durability on my elytras, so I was ready. I flew all around the nether to see what I could find and came across this interesting broken down building. I decided to give it a deeper look and see what I could get from the inside. I was in this sculpture and surprised how easy it was. There was not really any threats from the inside and thought nothing could go wrong, but that wasn't the case at all. I got ambushed by a bunch of piglings sabotaging me from all directions. I needed to get out. My hearts got low. Probably the lowest they've been throughout the 120 days I've survived so far. I was there on 2.5 hearts, no totem of undying, and no way I could get out of this. Luckily, I was able to block off the entrances of the piglings and was able to heal up a little bit. This was very scary, and I also made a very beginner mistake. I didn't even have my chestplate on. I forgot to take off the elytras. With the chestplate on, I was able to take a little bit more damage, but I did find these chests, but there was 2 piglings guarding these. After I had dealt with the piglins, I went to see what rewards were waiting for me in the chests. The loot that I had found in the chests weren't that good, so I decided to keep exploring around the nether to see if I could find another one of these things and see if I could get any better loot. As I was looking around, I did manage to stumble across another one. I calmly climbed up it and saw that there was some gold blocks awaiting me up ahead, but also some foes as well. I looked down the center of this thing and I knew it wasn't going to be easy to try and get the loot from inside. Although I did manage to find 2 chests in there and they didn't really have anything too crazy inside of them. Seeing as there was nothing too crazy in the chests, I decided to keep on exploring and I got ambushed once again. But luckily for me, the ambush wasn't nearly as bad as the last one and I was able to keep this one under control. After finding my way through this abandoned structure, I made my way to the center where I was able to see a spawner and also destroy it. But more importantly, there was so many valuable golden blocks, and even to my surprise, I checked the chest and I could not believe my eyes. Ancient debris and netherite from one single chest. I couldn't believe what I was